Hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on AI agent and bots for facilitating paperless trade transactions. My name is Alexey Bondarenko. I'm from ESCAP. I'll be moderating this session today. And let me start with a short personal story. Back to 2018, I left my full-time job and to launch a startup that used machine learning for HS classification. And we had the great results. We reached out to customs administration and proudly said, let's use artificial intelligence to classify goods. And I remember someone laughed and said that AI, do you think we are not smart enough to do it ourselves? Do we really need the support of AI? Back then, it was very hard to convince anyone that AI had a place in customs. But today, everything has changed, and after ChatGPT, AI is no longer a buzzword. It's becoming a part of everyday work, including in trade and customs. That's why this webinar is so timely. We'll hear from customs, international organizations, and businesses who are already putting chatbots and AI agents into action. And let me remind you that this webinar is organized by ESCAP with a partnership with World Customs Organization, ICC, and IDB. Please feel free to post your question in the chat. We will address them during the Q&A sessions. So let's begin with the welcoming remarks from Mr. Kijin Kim, Senior Economist at the Asian Development Bank. Kijin, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Alexey. So I know we have very good number of great experts today for presentation and discussion. So I'll try to be very quick for opening remarks. So yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to all of you joining us. On behalf of Asian Development Bank, I would like to welcome you to today's webinar on AI agents and bots for facilitating paperless trade transactions. As you know, artificial intelligence is increasingly recognized as a key enabler of digitalization in trade. And among all the core areas of trade facilitation, customs stands out as a domain where large volumes of structured and unstructured data converge from declarations, invoices, and permits to inspection reports and risk profiles. The demand for more efficient data handling is growing with the rise of e-commerce, more complex compliance requirements, but limited human and technical resources. So against this backdrop, the application of AI offers large potential to improve responsiveness, strengthen compliance, and enhance transparency in customs and border procedures, all of which help reduce the trade costs. And today's webinar, as Alexey mentioned, is very timely as it brings together practitioners from both the public and private sectors who are already implementing these technologies to support trade. Examples include that we'll see shortly the use of chatbots in customs operations, AI-assisted legal drafting tools for trade agreements, and advanced document processing solution in trade finance. So, as another example, as Alexey also said at the beginning, AI-powered HS classification engines offer a way to automate manual tasks, improve accuracy, and reduce operational burden. To support these efforts, ADB recently published a general guideline and toolkit on AI-powered HS classification engines. So as we look to the future, it's also essential to consider the broader governance, ethical, and institutional implications of AI adoption. Cross-border trade requires interoperability, trusted data sharing, and regulatory clarity. There are several important questions to address, like how to mitigate the risks associated with fragmented regulatory approaches to AI in trade, what standards and safeguards are needed to ensure data protection and transparency, and how to strike a balance between automation and human oversight. So we hope today's discussion will contribute to these important conversations while offering practical lessons from real-world implementations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kim, for setting the stage. I'm taking opportunity now to engage our audience. It's our first time we're having a poll. Let me launch the poll just to have an understanding how familiar our audience with AI. and AI solutions existing on the market. So I believe you have two questions now pop up in Zoom. This first question, have you used AI in your trade policy related work to this date? And the second question, how familiar you are with different AI tools at the moment. So you can choose the solutions you are using. Yeah, please. I think 30 more seconds is enough for us to get a feedback from you. I already see some preliminary results, but I will share to you in 20 seconds. So, yeah, impressive. More than 100 people already answered this poll. And let me end the poll. So, and share the result with you. As you can see, around 70% are using AI quite often, 40% every day, and only 10%, 14% never used AI before in their trade and policy related work, but I believe they already using in their day-to-day life. And also the second question, how familiar you are with the tools. Most of the participants familiar with generative AI, understandable. And that what we are going to discuss today is AI agent and conversational bots, how participants are using it. It's quite also popular at this point. Thank you so much for to be engaged in the poll, and let me start our webinar with a global perspective. And our first speaker is Ms. Valentina Ferraro. She is a project manager of WCO Smart Customs project. She will provide us an overview of AI technologies and its application in customs and international trade. And as we know that adoption of AI is rapidly accelerating, but how exactly it's being applied in customs domain? It will be really interesting to hear from Ms. Ferraro. Valentina, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Alexei, and really thank you for this invite to be here today with this very interesting panel to discuss a very, very important topic, as you can see also from the result of the poll. So I would be happy to give you an overview of the global perspective, but before doing that, I wanted to make sure that we have a common understanding of what is going to be the focus of this presentation. I referred in this slide to some basic definition of artificial intelligence and machine learning, as we can find them in a very recent publication from the WCO, which is a detailed report on the adoption of AI in customs that I will refer to you later on as well. And the focus today is going to be on understanding what customs adoption of systems that can capture data, process information, and provide decision to support, either interacting with users or helping in automating a task. So in terms of numbers, let's look at the bigger picture. And I wanted to show you the result of the last year global survey on the adoption of disruptive technologies, where we collected data on a different level of adoptions across all the 6 WCO regions on all technologies, including AI. As you can see from this graph, it's clear that AI adoption, it's still at the level of experimentation in the vast majority of the cases, with few adoption that were declared to be mature enough to be considered full adoption of cases. And this is a trend that is consistent across all the WCO regions. This question is coming from a previous exercise that the WCO had undertaken already previously, and with the result published in the 2022 study report of disruptive technology, where we had already collected cases of adoption and where we had already asked customs the same question about what is the status of adoption. So I wanted to show you some example of cases that back in 2022 or even before that were already available in terms of piloting or experimentation or full adoption of AI in customs. You can see here the list of WCO members who had already adopted AI in several cases. For example, to detect fraud risk in the case of Belgium, to detect possible misdeclaration in the case of Brazil. China was focusing on AI-based NII, non-intrusive inspection image recognition, as well as intelligent passenger face recognition system. We had the case of Hong Kong, China, applying big data analysis and artificial intelligence on cargo clearance to analyze trade patterns and trends. Japan applying targeting and supporting with the help of AI for post-clearance audit. Korea having developed a big data platform for risk management. Netherlands was at the time like undertaking research to automate X-ray images. Nigeria having a case of a bigger picture of modernization of customs procedure with the use of AI. Russian Federation as well, working in the field of risk management, while the US TBP was already implementing an overarching approach with the Artificial Intelligence Center for Innovation. And Zambia, it's very interesting for the discussion today, already had applied AI-powered chatbot. This was back in 2022, but we had been continuing overlooking and studying what members are currently doing and evolving in the sphere of AI. And in the framework of the WCO Smart Customs project, which I represent today, we have been studying the case of adoption of AI in China customs. And here in the slide, you can find reference to some main example of application. The first one is referring to an AI targeting expert in the Risk Prevention and Control Bureau, responsible for real-time scoring of declaration risk and applying a human-in-the-loop approach. And this is very important for policy consideration and transparency as well. And also other modules like the smart image analysis. I said already that this was already developed back in time, but it's continuously evolving and upgrading in the use of the NII images to verify empty containers in this case, and leading to automatic detection and warning alerts, as well as a module developed, an intelligent module for document review, which already had measurable impact in terms of reduction of time from 20 to 2 minutes for documentary review, as well as AI application in the single window environment. What we have also done is try to understand the trends in the application of AI in customs. And in this respect, I would like to refer you to this detailed report of the adoption of AI in customs published in March. And these are the areas where we see a continuously proven record of customs effort in adopting AI on different use cases, grouped on these categories. So the first one in the list is user experience and communication, where we see an interest in understanding and exploring, testing the use of AI to understand user behavior and adapt the communication accordingly. Chatbot, it's still a consistent area of adoption, as well as other areas that are to help operational efficiency and trade facilitation, as we heard from the opening speech remark previously, to support speeding up clearance operation and time release, but as well as in good classification and evaluation. And I heard you saying that, like Alexei, at the beginning in your introduction, single window e-commerce is another area where customs is trying to leverage on AI to overcome the challenges in the growing volume of e-commerce, as well as risk management and intelligence and surveillance. So to have have a consistent selectivity mechanism and targeting system that is constantly and accurately adapting to the environment and the situations with accurate data. But other areas are also emerging in terms of human resource management and capacity building, as well as other transversal areas like governance, data management, and innovation. At last, I don't want to keep super long in this overview, just to give you some main reference to the materials you can still consult to have a better idea and more details of what I tried to say so far. You can consult all this publication on the WCO website, as well as the AI package, as we call it in the Smart Customs project, where we have a self-assessment tool, the case study of adoption of AI in China Customs, and we will develop more that are under our program of work, and this detailed report on the adoption of AI. So you're very welcome to consult that and to visit our WCO website and the Smart Customs community portal, which is an incredibly useful resource for customs administration to exchange experiences and help progress together and learn from each other to speed up their adoption, learning from others. Thank you for your attention, and I'm here if you have any questions.
Thank you, Valentina. Indeed, so many different applications for AI in customs and international trade. Thank you very much for this great overview, and I strive everyone to read the documents you shared. I believe I only read one report, but I have to read the new one, which I just hear from you. Thank you so much. And yeah, you mentioned many countries' experience, how they apply the AI. And I know that some of the countries already ahead of others, and it's clearly shown on the diagram you shared with us. And I know that Germany is one of the countries which is leading AI innovation in customs area. And I was literally surprised that they have a special division already, which is working on AI, and they have adopted already and have a project on chat and voice both, and the chat and voice both division. And I'm really glad to move to Miss Doreen Lethold. She is the head of this division at German Customs, and she will share her insights on how this particular technology as a chatbot and voice bot can help in day-to-day work operation for traders, for customs officials, and how does it change the current workload of the people in customs. Thank you very much, Doreen, that you're with us. The floor is yours. I believe my colleague Nok will share your presentation.
Yeah, for your as Alexei all taught, a German cast responsible for implement chatbots in German customs. In the next slides, I will show you a little bit of the history, why we started with our chatbot and how and what role AI plays for chatbots. Okay, next slide. I work in customs for the customs information over Germany, and we answer chat.
Doreen, I think we have a connection issue. I don't know.
Concern. We answered in. Oh. Maybe I turn off the video so the connection is getting a little bit more stable.
I think it's getting better, right? Thank you so much. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay, I will continue. I think that is responsible for all over for inquiry just two figures from the last year in 1,600,000 emails, and that is also the reason why we started to do the project to no? Sorry for that. And obviously,
Why don't we go to the next speaker and allow Doreen to dial out and dial back in with a better connection, hopefully maybe from a different device.
Yeah, I'm
would-
really sorry the connection is not really strong. So I would suggest also to go to next speaker, and I hope that Doreen can join us, and then there will be better connection. Doreen is working with Sophie in German Customs, and we have two speakers from German Customs today. Sophie, she is the head of AI Future Office in German Customs. And I believe Sophie will share with us what is their strategy, how to work and overall with AI. And if Dorian will connect again, it will be better connection. We will hear how chatbot and voice bots can works in German Customs. Thank you very much, Sophie, that you're with us. Please, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you so much, Alexei, for the introduction. I'll share my slides with you. Give me just a second. Let me know if you can see something so I can start.
Yeah, we can see. Thank you. Go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So I'm going to introduce to you the AI Future Office in the German Customs. And as you can also see, we have this little symbol here. It's not a penguin, it's a kiwi bird, but I don't want to tell you all about the biology of the kiwi bird, but it's going to play a role later on. I want to start with the two voices of the customs officers. If the AI works as required, it would be a huge relief for everyday life. AI is urgently needed. There are only two voices of the many voices of the customs officers, since we are already using some AI, also generative AI, like a program similar to ChatGPT, and they were really happy that we have something like that because it makes life so much easier while working for the customs. So as you might know, there's a new EU AI Act, and it tells you what you're allowed to do with AI and what not, and what are forbidden AIs, what are the rules and regulations. And so it came into effect August last year. And since February this year, there are strict restrictions and regulations concerning AI competence, and they apply already. So it means that you have to, get your custom officers the competence to be able to use AI. So yeah, and also there will apply rules for generative AI from August on this year. And then you can see it continuously goes on with transparency and high-risk AI obligations in August next year. And also in August 2027, there will be product regulations that will apply. So for example, I don't know how it is in your country, but we also already have advertisement in the TV or on the TV, like a car advertisement, and it's beneath it there's a subtext which says, this video was created by AI. And also if you go through paper magazines and there are some advertisement and it says, this photo was created with the help of AI. So the question for the future will be, when will there be pictures where it says, this picture was taken by a human and not AI. So there are those transparency obligations when you really have to say this was made by AI. This also means a lot of tasks for German customs and the other customs throughout the EU. For example, we have to make an AI portfolio where we can say, okay, we have this AI and that AI and this AI in the different divisions like Doreen's AI, chat and voice bot. And also we have to figure out if this AI is a high risk AI, if it's a low risk AI, because then again, there are those different policies, how you can use them and everything. We have to build the competence I talked about already, and also we monitor what's going on in the EU or also internationally. Look left, look right, don't reinvent the wheel. And also data usage is very important, as you might know, like personal data, how can I use it, what is forbidden. Yeah, and that also applies for the legal use of AI and compliance and best practices. So now, since January this year, we have this AI Future Office, and also we have a special vision and mission for this office. We are the so-called central point of contact, or also single point of contact and coordination for the safe, effective, and responsible development and use of AI at German customs. What is our mission? Our mission is, of course, to support the customs in the legally compliant use of AI technologies. And also, we keep track of all AI projects in the so-called AI portfolio, which I mentioned before. And we ensure compliance with legal requirements and actively promote the building of competencies. And we are, like, for internal and external partners, the spokesperson for AI matters. And also we want to collaborate with different partners and strengthen these collaborations. And throughout those tasks and vision and mission, there's a scope of duties that we see in our AI Future Office. I already talked about what you can see on the left-hand side, the compliance, because it's really, really important that the customs officers and people who work at customs know how to use the AI, what is allowed, what is forbidden, what can I put in there, and that you always continuously really check if it's right what your AI tells you. Then there's the AI trend monitoring, as I mentioned before, the networking, active AI partner network, establish it, coordinate it, and keep it, very important. And also the communication, exchange of information internally and externally that are related with AI topics. We also especially support projects with AI, which means so that it's somehow like a wish list. Since we are there, the people send us emails and they're like, hey, we could use this AI, and what about this one? And I heard about this and that, and then we check and also work with the innovation management and also our data strategists and check if it's possible to have this AI or to create a new AI. And then we are also currently working on an AI agenda, because I think it's really important that you know where you want to go, which is the aim, what is the way to get there, and what are the rules, like how far can I go left and right, but where do I have to go on straight? So really to plan this strategically is also very important for customs, I think. And here's now my last slide, like the outlook, what are our next steps and what are our learnings so far in the AI Future Office. So our next steps is, as I mentioned before, the AI portfolio, or a so-called AI map, so that the whole customs administration in Germany, which is 48,000 people, so that's a lot, quite a lot. We have a certain homepage, a so-called intranet, where we share informations, and we'd really love to have a map with AI, like a mind map, and then you can just click on it, and it tells you which kind of AI we have, and then if there's another division says, hey, we have this AI, cool, maybe I could use this for my division as well, and then they can text us and email us and ask for this AI, and then we'll make a meeting with the other division who already uses this AI, and we'll be there and then share this, because sharing is caring. Then the AI strategy, I already talked about it. And very important, the risk classification, because we now have to figure out and then also report back to the EU AI board which kind of risk classifications we have throughout our AI technologies. We are also currently working on 2 AI training concepts. The one is more the technical training concept in our kind of university for custom officers, and the other one will be more about the regulations. Also, now I'm coming back to my little Kiwi birdie. We'll have Kiwi meetings, because AI in German means KI, so KI, and the W and I means knowledge carrier in German, so it would be KI Wissensträger, and then the short form would be Kiwi, and many other softwares or products in Germany are called like animals, and the Kiwi bird is the only animal which has the K and the I in it, and it's also a very, very intelligent bird, I can tell you. Although it can't fly, it can do a lot of other things. I'm not gonna go into it, but it's really interesting. And so we have AI knowledge carriers in every division, in every department, and then we have meetings where they can be like telling us back what is the problem in their division, where could they use AI, and also we give them back training and competence, and so it really works very well. And as I already also mentioned before, we continuously support AI projects and manage these and try to help where we can. So what are our learnings throughout the whole time since January this year? So we are here since half a year, and definitely what I can tell you is don't reinvent the wheel. If there's also already an AI there, why not use it? Use proven structures and processes, and then don't reinvent them, because that is just a waste of time if you can already build on things that are already there. Then also a learning is better communicate too much. You can never talk too much about something, because it's really important that you also talk to the information security officers or the data officers and everything like that. So we have meetings every month where we talk about it. We talk to internal partners, external partners, so that we can really have all the information we need.
Sorry, Sophie, please can you wrap up, because the time is.
Okay, sorry. Okay, then I'll just quickly finish. Putting the human first, which means you need trained personnel so that you have like more knowledge than all the others, and stagnation is regression. So never stop, always go on. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sophia. I hope your bird will fly and your whole application you're developing will be flying in German customs. By the way, how many people are working in this division?
Oh, don't ask. It's like a really, really small team. I really wouldn't give you a number right now.
I understand this. You have just started, and you actually show how many requests you are getting every day from all the customs administration, World Customs Organization, even the ESCAP reaching out to you. Please share your experience on AI. I believe it will be very demanded.
Yeah, so we are currently growing. Let's leave it at that.
Okay, great. And good luck with your work actually. And one of the, I think the division you are working most is a division where Doreen is working. This chatbot and voicebot division. Please, Doreen, if you're with us, so 5 minutes for you to present the results of the work you're doing.
Yeah, thank you again for the chance to speak. I hope now the connection is a little bit more stable. Sorry for the problems at the beginning. Is there anybody who could share the slides? Because I'm now logged in with my mobile phone and I don't have the slides on a mobile phone. I just wanted to tell you that we started with our chatbot and voicebot project 5 years ago. The reasons why we started was because we have, on the one hand, a lot of inquiries to handle, and we have, yeah, thank you for that. We continue to the next slide 3, please. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we have more and more topics to work on. We have growing expectations from our customers regarding availability of information, regarding of digitalization of our administration. And what is the big problem in Germany is we have limited human resources due to the demographic changing. So in my unit, in the next 5 years, there will be 1/3 of the colleagues retire. So they're just gone by 2030 and not working anymore on the inquiries. And that was the reason why we started. Next slide, please. And we developed different kinds of chatbots regarding on the topic we work on. So we have a chatbot that answers customs related questions. We have a chatbot that answers questions related to a vehicle tax, which is very important in Germany. And we also have a voice bot that helps us in answering calls. Yeah. Next slide, please. We are not using generative AI yet in the chatbot because the system what we use now allows us that we do the content management on our own with our customer offices, and we do not need any special IT skills. We do not need any technical deployments. We just need our software, and then we can update the content within minutes, which is a really big advantage to put the newest information into the chatbot and the voice bot. And we also have a big analysis framework, so we can monitor what is the problem for our customers, where are the most questions, and also how does our bots perform, and how can we improve our bots. And if our chatbot cannot help, we then use a contact form where we can ask our user all the relevant information that we need to answer the question by a human colleague. Next slide, please. The voice bot is basically the same, just that the voice bot speaks and does not type the text. And he is also able to do repeat the answers, to interrupt if somebody has a question, and also if the connection of our customer is unstable and is broken, he can also disconnect the call to not block all the channels. And we are at the moment we are able to have 75 calls at the same time. Typically, we have 2,000 calls a day that are done by the voice bot. And if it's necessary, we can transfer the call to our agents. And this is in about 25% of the calls necessary. So 75% are answered by our voice bot. Okay, then maybe go to the next slide. It's nearly the end. So what is the reason why you just use intent-based technology at the moment and not large language model, as I already mentioned, is the big advantage is the content management that we can do on our own. Also, the performance of the chatbot is very faster now than when we use LLM. We already have done some trials and experiments with LLM. And what is at the moment still the biggest problem is the risk of hallucination. So we are an authority, we are a customs office, and we can't post hallucinated answers to our customers. And that's the biggest problem at the moment to handle this risk. However, on the next and last slide, you will see what we are working on at the moment. We try to implement a large language model where it is useful for us. So we have on the one hand our chatbots and a voice bot where we try to implement large language models in future to still improve our answers and just to have a broader knowledge database. And we also have another project working on our emails. So a lot of questions come to us via email, and now we try to automate email answering just in a few cases. Not every email is possible to answer by a large language model, but we try that we can answer a few automatically. And this is what we are working on in the next year. We just started the projects this year, so I cannot really tell you some results yet, but maybe next year. Thank you for your audience.
Thank you very much, Doreen. Actually, it's very insightful that the customs can start with something simple and then to grow and to experiment with different type of AI. I'm not sure if this content-based solution you developed can be called as AI, but I feel that if it solves the issue, that you answer it like 75% of voice calls by bots, so it means that you can definitely utilize it and to get a result immediately. But I believe that there is a great potential, right, to explore different solution. And I'm really personally surprised how AI can speak now. It's like I cannot really understand if it's AI voice or it's a real voice of a speaker, right? So it's really impressive and it had great potential. I believe that your presentation is really inspiring for other customs administrations. Thank you very much for your contribution. By the way, we have one more customs official today, but from another region. We have our friend Mohan with us. He is from Nepal Customs. I recently met Mohan in Bangkok, and we have discussed his project and his idea of using AI for environmental goods. So how to identify environmental goods and to facilitate the process of customs clearance of environmental goods. But not only environmental goods. I believe Mohan, with his great and extensive experience with machine learning and data analytics, they're trying to explore different other ways to use AI in customs. Thank you, Mohan, that you're with us. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Alexei. Just a second, I want to share my screen first. Is it visible now?
Yes, we can see.
Yes. Thank you, Alexei. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I'm honored to be part of this important session, and I sincerely appreciate the invitations. Today, I'm excited to share the recent research and the AI agent applications that Nepal Customs is currently developing. These intelligence systems are designed to support the compliance, accelerate the clearance, and facilitate the paperless trade. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to ESCAP, ADB, WCO, and ICC for jointly organizing this important webinar. In this presentation, I will introduce 4 use cases of AI in customs. The first 2 were developed as the proof of concept during my research titled Using AI to Identify and Expedite Environmental Good at Customs, which I presented at the Paperless Trade Week 2025. And other 2 are the AI agent built on top of large language model, which are currently developed by Nepal Customs. Let's begin with the AI for the environmental good classifications, a key component for the green trade facilitations. We are seeing the strong policy momentum from the globally from like UN SDGs, WTO Doha declarations, WTO Green Customs Action Plan, and ESCAP conceptual framework on the green trade facilitations, with a common commitment to promoting green trade facilitation and the movement of environmental goods. However, despite these efforts, the one major bottleneck remains the identification of the environmental goods at the border. And as we know, customs use access scores for the classify the goods. But in the case of environmental goods, in most of the environmental goods and the non-environmental goods often share the same access scores. For example, suppose example of 73020, which includes the tower for the telecom and the wind turbine towers, where we consider wind turbine tower as the environmental goods. So this creates the difficulty to applying the automated facilitation procedures solely based on the HS scores. And also, according to the WTO annual survey of 2022, 60% custom administration still do not have the trade facilitation policy for the environmental goods. And further, the environmental goods list vary across the agreements. So for our study, we use the compile the 3 reference lists like EPIC environmental good list and environmental good list from the Singapore-Australia Green Economy Agreement and the agreement on the climate change and trade sustainability. And to address the HS-based identification challenge, we train the AI models using Nepal customs data and the environmental good listed from the above mentioned references. The model takes major 2 inputs, one from the commercial description of the goods that they declares and the 6-digit HS scores and they declares. And then it classifies the item is either environmental or not, providing the with confidence scores. And our test results were impressive with the accuracy of 99.5%, precision of 97%, and the recall of 93%. This infographics shows how the model insight whether the declared good is environmental or not, along with the confidence level. This illustrates how difficult it is to identify them without the standardized tools. And AI bridges this gap by offering a model-driven, scalable, and policy-aligned solutions. And then, of course, identification is the one part of a customs mission, but ensuring compliance and detecting fraud is also equally essential in the customs perspective. So we developed another AI model using more than 70 plus features from the declaration and other feature enhancements, including HS scores, quantity, value, custom office, and more. In the sample data set, what we tested during the model development, there was the 8.9% of transactions had some kind of fraud in our sample data set. And to find this fraud, the customs are currently targeting around 50% of the consignment, including physical inspection and the document control, to detect this fraud using the rule-based systems. But if we use the AI instead of these rule-based systems, our research find that if we target only 10% of the consignment, we can find 94% of the fraud cases by targeting just 10% of the consignment. And if we reduce it to the 15%, we can target almost all fraud cases, what we are targeting using rule-based systems. This shows that just dropping the inspection rate from the 50 to 15. So this is not just only enhance the accuracy, but also significantly reduce the administrative and the operational burdens at the customs. And another exciting project we are developing is AI systems that suggest the HS scores based on the product images. Here is how this multimodal LLM works. When we give the input of the picture of the product then it recognizes the product of the images and use the RAG retrieval augmented generation to access the relevant classification guidelines, and it finally suggests the HS scores and provide the rationale behind it, why this HS score is appropriate for this image or for this product. This tool offers some key benefits, including it serves as the intelligence assistance for the SS classifications, speed of the clearance, and it improves the consistency and the transparency in the decision making. The screenshot on the right side shows the output generated by these AI systems. As you can see, the system first identifies the product of the images and then provides the suggested SS scores with clear rationale for the classification. Additionally, it suggests the alternative SS scores that may apply under the different conditions or different cases, offering a more comprehensive view of the decision making. And the last one, the final use cases, what we are doing is the document validation agent or invoice validation agent. The automates the invoice cross-checking. In Nepal customs, submitting a scanned copy of commercial invoice is mandatory when they make the declaration in systems. So this agent or this AI system extract the key information from the uploaded invoices using AI systems, and it retrieves the corresponding declaration data from the declaration database, and it compares the side by side and flag that any discrepancies is there or not. For example, in the right side in the screenshot, we can see that the agent flagged the case when the invoice listed the unit price for the 6-inch HDMI cable is 18, but they declare $10. So this AI agent acts as a digital validator, you can say, helping the officers identifying undervaluation or misdeclarations without manually reading each documents. So it saves the times, it enhances the risk management, reduces the manual workload, and support the more consistent enforcement and crucial for the high volume trade environment. Yes, and this is to conclude, AI agents and the bot are transferring the way we manage and trades, making them smarter, faster, and the paperless, from the environmental good classifications and fraud detection to image-based SS score or automated invoice validations. These agents offer scalable and the practical solutions. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mohan. It's very impressive how within limited resources you have developed different solutions, and you keep going on that, and you enriched our discussions on the application of AI LLM into customs administrations. I see that our webinars is like very interesting to our audience. I see many questions in the Q&A, and I strive our panelists to answer these questions while we have in the presentation. We will be having a Q&A session at the end, but please answer the questions in the Q&A. And thank you so much, Mohan, that you're with us. Let's turn to another perspective area of AI application. It's AI in trade policy. And I'm happy to have with us Mr. Jan de Waal. He is the Chief of Trade Policy and Facilitation Section at ESCAP. He will introduce the ESCAP TINA. It's AI-powered assistant to legal drafting and trade negotiations. Yeah, please share with us your experience on AI application and.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Alexei. I hope you can hear me well. I know we are probably running late in the webinar, right? From what I can see, so I'll try to be take only 5 minutes or so. The purpose of the presentation, as you mentioned, is really to introduce participants to TINA, which is the Trade Intelligence and Negotiation Advisor. So let me share my screen right away. I don't have any slides. Hope you can see it now. And so the idea of TINA is really to facilitate trade negotiations in developing countries. We have limited resources to prepare for trade negotiation in many cases. So it's really an artificial intelligence. The overall idea is to develop an artificial intelligence to support trade negotiation in developing countries. And so referring to different presentation already so far in the webinar, I mean, defining AI is always quite important, right? Because now most people, when we think AI is Gen AI, is large language models, but actually, if you look at AI as a big scope, machine learning, econometric models, you know, like those old things that have been around for 20 years, right? It's already it's part of AI, and actually, it's a kind of the most reliable part of AI at this point, right? And so TINA fundamentally initially is based on those older parts of AI, and it's really helping countries do number crunching so that they can be better prepared and develop offer lists for trade negotiations. So I don't have a lot of time, so I encourage everybody to go and look at tina.trade different functionalities. But the most popular probably functionalities we have, and one of the most advanced, is to determine, once you have two countries, so here I put Thailand and Brazil, right, negotiating with each other, and Thailand want to understand, to find out which commodities they would need to negotiate or renegotiate tariffs on to zero tariff, right? And there is 5,000 commodities at the HS6 code levels that you need to look at. And so how do you build your negotiation list? And so with TINA, you can do this very, very quickly. And in fact, already, since I already pre-generated it, it takes about 20 seconds to do. But here it generated a list of 945 commodities out of the 5,000 or so that are out there that may be prioritized for Thailand with negotiation with Brazil. And what you can do with TINA is you can actually simulate the impact of achieving the liberalization. And so again, a lot of number crunching that would normally be done by quite senior experts that can be now done in a few seconds or a few minutes with TINA. And you can see that based on the scenario that we developed, trade creation for Thailand in negotiating a free trade agreement with Brazil would result in $1.13 billion in trade creation. And so on. So again, no time to look into details, but you're welcome to look into it. What we've done more recently, we've extended TINA into legal TINA. So instead of doing number crunching, when trade negotiators want to negotiate trade agreements, to facilitate trade and to promote trade, they need to actually agree on the text of a trade agreement, right? So the idea here is to be able for trade negotiators to have access to all the text of existing trade agreements and quickly find out what provisions may be considered in various contexts. So if you go into the text search functionalities of legal TINA, we have 513 texts of trade agreements, so almost all of them at this point, also including now WTO agreements, which are fundamental basis for negotiations. And then you can look at whatever topic you're interested in, right? So since this particular webinar is for promoting paperless trade, one of the things you can do is you just type paperless trade and you see what the provisions are, what agreements have provision on paperless trade. So again, to save time, I pre-typed it in, right? And so I have the results here. We find 212 matches found in 40 agreements. So there is 40 agreements where you can find paperless in them. And the oldest one in the list we have there, if you go back to the bottom there, is actually New Zealand-Singapore Agreement 2001. And so if you look at where it was featured in the New Zealand-Singapore, apparently it's in the intellectual property section. And there is an article on paperless trading in there, right? So it's a different structure from the more modern new agreements. If I go to the top of the list here, one of the ones that mentioned that has the most matches is a Korea-Singapore Digital Partnership Agreement, because we do include digital economy agreements in there. So if you open that, you find that there is an entire Article 1412 on paperless trading. So you can look at the text of the agreement. And then where do Gen AI come in now, right? So we are starting to use Gen AI and large language model. Essentially, it helps you understand better what the provisions say, right? So here we can click, for example, and we are very careful about this issue of hallucination, right? That was mentioned by colleagues from German Customs, I think. This is still very prevalent, no matter what is being said, right? And it's quite difficult to handle. So actually, for us, instead of being able to type, for example, a question about the provision, you actually only have buttons so far, right? So one of the buttons is explain in simple terms what this provision on paperless trading means in that particular agreement. So if you click that, You got a legal disclaimer because we are quite careful to mention that it's AI generated. And then it explains to you, so Tina, this is Tina here, and she explains to you in simple terms what is in that provision, right? So that the goal is to go electronic, and then there is a specific mention of single window, specific mention of data exchange between the countries that should be secured, and also emphasis on cooperation and collaboration for advancing. And then you can ask Tina to give you an example of application of how this provision is applied, and also some of the implications associated with this provision. So again, all to support trade negotiation of better agreements. And I will stop here, but you can go a lot deeper. I mean, I typed paperless trade, but you can type data governance, you can type digital identity and find out, what is being written in the trade agreements about that. And then when you want to accelerate trade facilitation, cross-border paperless trade, that gives you some ideas of what you can include in your next trade agreement. Let me stop here, Alexei.
Thank you, Jan. It's really impressive how this time-consuming exercise to check all of the agreements, to check all of the statistics, to provide reports and other stuff can be done by using Tina. And I believe that Tina will be also developing in terms of the user-friendly interface and probably the new way how to interact with Tina, not just go online to click then there, but probably to through the voice interaction. So how you have in mind to develop it further. Thank you very much for that. And now we have a next section of our webinar is a kind of a voice of private sector. How AI chatbots and AI agent can be used for to resolve the pain point of the private sector, to provide a supporting documents, to check, to make it more compliant and other stuff. So many applications of AI in private sector. And I'm happy to have with us Ben Arber from Compil Data. He is CEO of this company, and he is working on application of AI for many business areas. And I believe that Ben will share with us how AI can help with unstructured data to make it more structured and to use this for document preparation and checking of compliance level. Thank you, Ben, that you're with us. I know that it's 3 a.m. in the United States. I really appreciate that you're with us.
No, thank you, Alexei. Thanks to ESCAP for having me. Really appreciate the opportunity to be here. I'm going to cover the use of AI models, as Jan just mentioned, not necessarily very new, plus AI agents and large language models specifically, as defined as a subset of generative AI, slightly more literal, slightly less generative than broader Gen AI, which includes images and a more predictive element, music, etc. Really in handling trade finance documents, quite specific to trade finance financial institutions within operations processes, but also what we found super relevant to exporters preparing documents, to other players in the value chain handling documents related to trade finance. I also co-chair the ITFA Financial Crime Compliance Initiative, which was set up in late 2024 by the International Trade and Forfeiting Association, quite specifically to look at the use of technology in fin crime. And we've got some interesting papers that we produced and ideas as well for the industry. We also advocate with regulators as well. I'll be quite specific about use cases, which will hopefully help the audience see where this is really coming alive. What I'm going to start with is, as you referenced, Alexei, taking unstructured to structured data. Banks still deal with paper. They tend to actually transform that paper into image, and then actually getting the data out of images, PDFs of trade finance documents, has been a long-standing challenge. Optical character recognition has generally underperformed over the years. Dedicated AI models can get to a higher level of classification and data extraction, but tend to hit a bit of a ceiling, let's say at about 80% of correct extraction of data documents, which then can maybe inch up a little bit with machine learning as hundreds of documents are put through the same model. What we found is that applying LLM on top of those AI models has massively transformed the ability to get data out of images of trade finance documents. I think a couple of key points here. One, classification. So given that LLMs reference billions of data points, we found the ability to detect a document type is almost flawless. Even kind of rare documents we found, disposal of cooking oil or nuclear waste or fumigation certificates in commodities, identifying what the document type is, obviously bills of lading, invoices, packing lists, certificates, etc., certificates of origin, etc. But rare documents in trade finance, almost flawless in terms of identification, classifying what that document is. When you get to the field level, likewise, forget about 80%, 85%, 97, 98% out of the box in terms of identifying, weights, measures, goods descriptions, instructions, and being able to not just identify it, but also put the information in the right place in an operating system. So literally revolutionizing, prior processes of typing data in from documents to actually getting from structured to unstructured data, unstructured to structured data, and data being in the right place. I think what that has meant is that you've suddenly got a huge amount of value add downstream, and a couple of very specific use cases. Number one, identifying goods descriptions. So long, vague goods descriptions we've seen become more commonplace in trade finance, partly driven by financial crime, where masking the true goods description is often related to laundering the proceeds of crime or similar. Where you've got super accurate goods descriptions being extracted, it helps immediately from a fraud prevention AML perspective, as well as, for example, around dual use goods, where the sort of downstream application is less around direct kind of fuzzy matching logic on a goods description versus a list, and much more intuitive and intelligent from an LLM perspective. We're also seeing, extraction of fine-grained data from, let's say, Swift messages. Now, Swift messages start as data, become paper, and then image, which is the wrong problem to solve in terms of those instructions in, let's say, field 46A, 47A on an MT700 message. But we've actually used two LLMs together to be able to detect, detailed instructions, from issuing banks to negotiating banks, for example, which has then really helped empower the presentation of documents under letter of credit. We've also employed LLMs to actually help with the doc checking process. I think there's a much greater risk of hallucination that Doreen mentioned earlier and Jan referenced. So at the moment, we're finding that pre-LLM AI, together with LLM in some cases, helps when it comes to identifying whether a set of documents or presentation aligns with the terms of the LC in accordance with UCP 600 from an international rule set perspective. There's much more risk of getting things wrong there, and we find actually that the data quality, together with an AI model, with targeted use of LLM, is really making a difference when it comes to checking documents under LC. And interestingly, what we found is from a data extraction perspective, we don't think you're going to get to a point where you can put a bill of lading into ChatGPT today or tomorrow and get to 98, 99% accuracy. At the moment, there's some interesting experiments that are relatively public, where there's sort of 80% or 85%, and it probably will improve over time. But actually, the domain expertise and a little bit of pre-training of a model on a number of document types, combined with LLM, is really the kind of magic formula that we found that I think banks are starting to use more broadly in their trade finance operations processes. A couple of other use cases I'll mention as well. One more off the back of data extraction, which is it's pretty straightforward to identify what's a vessel, what's an entity, what's a country, what's a port, etc., which then makes your downstream sanctions processes much more optimized. So you're not checking every piece of data against every list of vessels, even if it's not a vessel. Likewise, from a country, port, individual entity perspective. I think interestingly in this space as well, being able to apply LLM on entities has really helped, not entity resolution, but entity recognition. It is the entity who they say they are. Again, based on those billions of data points in an open LLM model, which can then help from a both detection and investigation perspective. Is it potentially a shell company? Is there a sanctioned UBO? And that builds up into what I'm quite interested in the short term around fin crime risk mitigation in trade finance, which is counterparty risk scoring. So you can actually, again, back on a kind of traditional AI model, use those data points, including external data, but not necessarily. You can do it on a private, one organization's data, to be able to automatically risk score a counterparty from 0 to 100, together with automatically generated explanation as to why the models come up with that score. So pretty interesting, given how much of a challenge counterparty risk, your customer's customer, your customer supplier, and identifying who they are, they say who they are, and what level of risk they may present from a financial crime perspective. I think maybe the final use case I'll mention is we're certainly seeing more adoption in the industry of agents. So, what we spend a lot of time on is looking at not complex processes. These are decisions that people need to make based on 5, 10, 15 years of training and qualifications, whether it's CDCS or similar. I think we're seeing agents not necessarily focus on that challenge, but more, the kind of long-term process in a letter of credit, in a documentary collection, in guarantees, and being able to bring information in from multiple different places, third-party data, lists, internal data, KYC information, etc. A perfect use case for using an AI agent to be able to bring data in and help with the decision-making process. And certainly that's what we're seeing in the industry as these technologies are more broadly applied within financial institutions and within exporters in particular. It's about helping with the problem that Doreen mentioned as well, where more expertise we're seeing leave the industry through retirement. This is about empowering human decision making with better access to information, more information being in the right place, and helping experienced doc checkers with 60, 70, 80% of their transaction level looking at documents being taken away with the machine recommending here's a discrepancy and here's the wording which relates to that discrepancy, as well as we're finding interestingly players in the industry using the AI and the LLM to actually learn from. So less experienced doc checkers, for example, being able to actually learn and see, wait a minute, that discrepancy relates to that rule in E-Speaks 100, now I get it. So starting a sort of virtuous cycle of training and learning from AI. Thanks for the opportunity to share a few thoughts, and I'll leave it there.
Thank you, Ben, for your comprehensive overview of different solutions and different applications of AI, and even AI agent for the trade finance transactions control. And I'm really interested. It's really interesting to hear how combination of different solutions can enhance the results. And also interesting that the trade finance and all of what you're doing is very in line to what customs wants to do and wants to have in their own operations. So objectives is more or less the same, but the stakeholders are different. And
totally agree.
The problem is that one stakeholder operates one set of data and another stakeholder another set of data, and they're not really cross each other, and they cannot get this access. So the access to data is also a crucial aspect. So thank you very much for sharing with us your experience. And we have our next speaker from the private sector from Singapore, CK. He's the manager director of the Kuber AI, and he will be sharing with us his experience on implementing AI agents in the trade operations. Thank you, CK, that you're with us. The floor is yours.
No worries.
CK, if I can ask you to...
Hi, I hope everybody can see my slide.
Yeah, to have like 5 minutes, and then we can go to the Q&A. Thank you.
Sure, no problem at all. I think it's great that I have this opportunity to speak in this event and hearing from different peoples about how they use AI, chatbot, or even the agent to help to do something. Today, what I'm going to share very quickly is about how Cuba AI, this company, has been evolving and using what we call agentic, or our products is called Agentic X, with an agent that can help you to do things. So what we see here that, there's always challenge with complex and unstructured trade data, like at the booking area, the release of ordering, including the custom declaration portion. And these processes are very much complicated and requires a lot of manpower, require a lot of paperwork, especially in the cross-border trade business. Company had to deal with high volume of document, invoices, BL, or COOs, or even custom declaration. And most of these documents are highly often unstructured and come in different format. One company may have one format, and imagine that you're dealing with like thousands of companies. That means it's thousands of formats. Different countries, languages are different. It could include scanned PDF copy or Excel file and handwritten notes and email. Many process of such data cause a lot of delay, sometimes also increase of cost. So that's where we introduce our solution into it. Today, Cuba Agentic X solution, basically we focus in the supply chain and logistic industry. So the industry that we work on for application are mainly for shipper, domestic logistic, international logistic, and look at the whole supply chain and the whole process that we are looking at. Under our intelligent agentic, we have focused on two core areas. One, we call sales and marketing automation. Two, fulfillment automation. The agent that we have, like the sales officer, custom RFQ, Agentic X, these are all digital employees. They are functioning, they can help in terms of serving inquiry. Or I give a typical example. Most of the freight forwarders in the market, they will say that every Monday or every Tuesday, they will send out their pricing, because in terms of shipment or ocean trade, their prices change weekly. As much as now, with what is happening around the world now, with the so-called different tariff issues, the rate change even more faster. People are looking at what are the rates that we can possible. Imagine that a company, he may have 1,000 customers and you only have 5 salesperson. How will this 5% handle all the daily inquiry about, can you quote me a price shipping from Singapore to Thailand or shipping from Singapore to Long Beach? It's going to be very tedious and a lot of times will be needed. So we developed this digital employee to help to settle this problem. We're able to communicate with products like instant messages, WhatsApp, WeChat, MS Team, or even email. Once we receive it, we use through our LLM, our AI technology, including our OCR, to derive what exactly is the message about. And from there, we are able to fulfill based on our fulfillment automation solution, like if it's a smart ordering, or it's a customer service, or it's a booking or release. Even look at also the smart POD Agentic X. Underneath this platform, or underneath this Agentic X platform that we have, basically it runs with 3 core areas. One, the tools. The tools that function is like rate management tool. Our IDP is called Intelligent Document Process. The booking, order receive, manifest, or even tracking. We even built our own vertical logistic or supply chain LLM. We call it Cuba LLM. Over the last 6 to 7 years, we have been spending a lot of time together with our more than 2,000 customers, knowing all the way to inputs, all the know-hows about in supply chain and logistics. And this built up a huge database for us, and it created a huge LLM that have all these different information. Same time, we are also aligned or worked closely together with the general LLM like DeepSeek, OpenAI, Meta, or Google. Below it, definitely we talk about enterprise private data or industry specific data or even industry public data that we talk about. So give you a typical example, how does a customer service officer will work? In traditional way, this guy or this lady has to receive a lot of call, understanding from the customers what do they need. And sometimes you even get scolding from the customer to say, hey, a simple thing, you can't even do it right. So what happened here is our digital employee, this customer service officer, she will be able to receive the order either by WhatsApp or by email. Once they got it, the system automatically will take all this document, extract this documentation, reading all the different type of fields that you can have. Once they extract it out, you're able to do the template, be it is a custom declaration service or ordering. We're able to feed out all the different fields, and we make use of our Cuba LLM, which is they will understand. Like for example, you may put inside the confirmation order to say that our order 2 container, but your 2 container, you put it in the remark section. Usually normal OCR read, they will not take notes of the remark section. But because we integrate with the LLM and we have all the logistic and supply chain know-how, we'll pick up this information, automatically we'll generate into 2 different purchase order so that we'll book 2 containers for them. Even the HS code of a product. Or if there's a missing information, like for example, if you have missing contract numbers, we will identify it. The agent here will say, write an email back to the person who submit this order and let them know, basically you have a missing contract number. With that contract number, once you fill it up or you email back to me, automatically this order will be continued to process. Same time, if you are missing HS code or certain name of the HS code or items, we feel that it's wrong, and we have the so-called information to do that, we will put it in and make sure that we can do it. Right. So in a way, we have combined both our LLM plus our Agentic X digital employee. The agentic digital employee, basically they are doing all the hands and legs, connecting to the different system. With the LLM that we built, our Cuba LLM, they're able to put it all together and become an all-powerful digital employee. And this is what we are doing. So basically, based on research, right, you know that back in 1980s, we are talking about automation in the manufacturing. And today, it is already reaching to the stage of manufacturing 5.0. And the automation are all empowered by robotics. Currently, people are talking about what are the automation that we can have within the office. And our idea of automation is empowered by digital employee. A research done by McKinsey. By the year 2030, nearly 40% of the tasks in US corporate organization will be projected to be automated. And that's where we see our value. So how do we do automation in the office? By using our Agentic X digital employee. In the past, we talk about embedding model, where human will have 70% of the time doing the job, and AI is only doing about 30% of what we are doing. Now, it is a co-pilot model, which is basically you see human and AI are sharing 50-50 of the workload. The future that we are looking at is the human will only do set goal, provide resources, supervise. The Agentic X digital employee should be taking up around 70% of the job or even 80% to ensure that they can complete all those routine jobs that we talk about, or the business as usual kind of way to work with. All right, so that's today what I'm going to share. And
thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, CK, for your presentation. Actually, it's a bit scary because 40% can be automated really soon. So we have to care about that. And while you're experimenting, while you're implementing different solution and digital specialists, right, into real operations. But by the way, did you have some estimates how much does it cost to have a digital worker instead of a real one?
Actually, let's put it this way. When you have a digital worker, your cost of implementation and maintaining it is no different from an actual employee that you have. It could be around maybe between 4,000 to 5,000 US dollar a month. But again, the good thing about this digital employee is he or she doesn't ask you for leave and never claim OT, and they don't ask for pay rise over the years. So what happened here is they work 7/24, and there's no rules or law to say that, digital worker cannot work 7/24, right? And they don't have leave or anything, or even I don't increase his pay. There's no one will complain. But what we are looking at is the digital employee should work closely with human also. So it is in a way to help them to lighten up some of the load they have. And human have more times. I mean, everybody complains that we don't have enough time. So what we are looking for is to have digital employee to help us so that we have a little bit more time for our families, for our own health, and we can do a lot of other things.
Indeed, I also complain that we don't have enough time.
I do that. I also don't have enough time.
Yeah, and we need to actually to wrap up our discussion. Unfortunately, we cannot have a Q&A and proper Q&A to discuss. And I see that so many questions were in the chat. I really appreciate our speaker and panelists that they answer most of the questions already. And I believe I will be also sending the question from the chat. I try to reflect the question from the chat and then to circulate it to our panelists, and then I will collect all responses and try to disseminate this information to our participants of the webinar today. We had more than 200, I think, 30 people joined online. It's really good. And just to, from my side to wrap up, I would like to launch one more poll. I hope it's already popped up at your screen. And this poll is about where do you see we can apply AI? What are the most promisable areas for us to apply AI solutions, especially agentic technologies, chatbots, and so on and so forth. I believe this topic is very wide, and we've chosen this AI agentic technologies, and we can continue discussion around that. I already see many applications. It was very interesting to hear how AI agents already applied in different areas, from trade policy drafting to compliance check and other stuff. So I took this 1 minute for provide this the last poll today, and let me end the poll and to showcase the results. It's for you actually, Pamela, to wrap up a discussion. I'm really happy to pass the floor to Pamela Marr, Managing Director of ICC-DSI, our partner for the webinar, to conclude our webinar today.
So actually, I think we have seen examples of each of these: customs compliance checking, border data, documents, and data extraction and aggregation. We've seen examples of each of those on the webinar, and especially the last presentation on how to actually complete end-to-end processes using AI. That was really, for me, that's really the cutting edge. Just in terms of wrapping up, everyone said like AI is now. Okay, AI is not the future. And the key is, if we say that it's now, that means it's already quite developed and that we've already had a good range of experiences adventures in AI. Some of the things that I picked up from today, number one, data. Data is key. And so training the right data and putting it into interoperable frameworks, because although AI can help us bridge interoperability gaps, we're not there yet at scale. So choosing data standards which are globally interoperable, that will be key, to avoid that systems cannot connect. The second is language. So I saw that the German chatbot used by German customs is only in German now. I do believe that we're getting to the point where actually language will no longer be a barrier to communication, including for documentation and so on. I think that will be very beneficial, but we need to do more work to actually make that a reality. The third thing and the fourth thing I picked up from Sophie's presentation on how do you govern the use of AI within organizations. Number one, communicate a lot in terms of sharing innovations and experiences and pilots taking place in the organization. And secondly, really make clear the rules of the road, because we do want to encourage we do want to encourage AI, but there's been a lot of press about the improper use of AI. So in terms of organization decisions, that's really important as well. Just in closing, I'd like to say thank you all for all the questions. It really shows that everyone is really engaging on the issue. We hope to be able to track the uptake of AI in the digital supply chain. And just as one last push from the Digital Standards Initiative, if you haven't taken more steps to accelerate the digitalization of your supply chain by using globally interoperable standards and by trying to connect your end-to-end supply chain using data, get started now. There's a lot of guidance available because, AI is already kind of galloping ahead. So in order to keep pace with that, it's just important that you actually take the first step to create the data troves which will enable you to do all that much more with your AI agents. Thanks very much. If I can ask everyone to turn on their cameras, and maybe we can take a quick picture. So that's Sophie, Doreen, and Jan, if you're still around.
Yeah, please.
Hello, Doreen, if you can turn on one of your identities. Okay, Valentina's here and Doreen. We just okay, maybe Alexei, you take the picture now because
Thank you so much.
okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. It was very
Bye-bye.
insightful
Bye-bye.
meeting.
Thank you.
We are looking forward
Bye.
to the next series. We are
Yes.
already thinking about the next topic, actually. I believe it will be also insightful. Thank you very much for your
Thank
great.
you.
Thanks, Alexei.
Goodbye.